Hello friends, I'm Ukrainian citizen and mature medical student, and currently I'm not in Ukraine, but I'm continue to study medicine distantly online. I'm currently in another country, in Italy, but anyway, all my thoughts with Ukraine, and today I want to share with you and want to tell you what in our mass media are talking about, what our mass media are talking about events of the last days, because I think it's the events they very important and they will be included in the history of Ukraine, maybe in the books after we will win. And so I want to share with you what we listening, what we watching during these days, and how our experts comment and explain this to us, what we have. Okay, the first the event, it is speech of Putin on the 30th of September in the Kremlin. He claimed that for Ukrainian regions, Zaporizhia, Kherson region, Zaporizhska, Kherson region, Donbass and Donetsk and Luhansk region, they included in the Russian Federation. They became since this day the territory of Russia. And it is kind of very strange, because they Putin included them all in their administrative borders, while these all regions, they are not controlled in their fully in all their administrative borders by Russians. For example, Zaporizhia, they control on the maybe 60%, Donetsk region also, Luhansk region now, it was captured fully in their administrative borders during this summer, but now our army, they're returning in Donetsk, northern Donetsk, they captured very important city or town, maybe better to say Liman. They are on the way to Svatove in Luhansk region, so military actions, they continue, and our army returns the territory, while Putin claimed that all these territories, even in that controlled by our states, our territories, they included in their state. And it is very, very strange, and it is against logic and against all laws. But anyway, what we have. And another thing that what they did to include these territories in Russian Federation. They claimed these regions independent countries. And I don't know if you have, of course, you have the different regions in your country, and you can imagine that, for example, some region claimed as independent country. I think you would be very surprised and maybe even laugh because of this fact. Because, for example, okay, maybe we could imagine that Zaporizhia could be independent, because in the Ukrainian history, Zaporizhian siege in the, I would say, in the 17th, in the 18th centuries, in the 16th centuries, it was the time of history, or the time of Cossacks, the state of Cossacks, like military, democratic, first of democratic states in the world. Okay, we could imagine that it could be, due to this historical event, could be the independent unit, autonomous unit, I don't know, but because it has some little features of autonomy, and Kiev should talk to Zaporizhia, because it has also some values, some I would say influence, yes. But anyway, today it's just a simple region, and we cannot say, for example, like that about Kherson region, We cannot say about Luhansk in the Donetsk region because it's completely something new. They never was independent. Of course, they had some their regional features, but it sounds very strange when your administrative regions became independent countries. So these regions, according to Putin's logic, was independent for one day yesterday, and it was all he did to include these regions, these independent countries. I don't know how they call them in the documents. These countries into Russia. Because in the Russian constitution, only independent other countries could be included in Russian Federation. Because Russia now, it's Russian Federation. Federation, it's like a unit of different autonomous countries. They can preserve some features of autonomy, some their local administration. For example, the Tatarstan is still have a president, so they even could have like this, and the idea to include these regions as on the same conditions. So during this yesterday, our president Zelensky, he had a meeting with the commanders of the army of Ukraine, of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, all people they are responsible for returning the Ukrainian territories. And they have a lot of very important questions, and not all of them I can tell you, and not all of them we know and I know, and they are secret, and we can understand why, because not all things they can spread in mass media, but what things I can share with you, that they said that our Ukrainian state and our military forces will continue to deoccupy our territories: Zaporizhia, Kherson, Luhansk, Donetsk region, Crimea. We will not stop. All things that Putin said in his speech we do not pay attention to this. We have our task, and we will follow it. We will follow our plan, and we will return territories. Also on this meeting was discussions, the plans, how exactly to do this, in which directions, in which way, what we need to do, and what is no need to do. So the Putin's speech had no any effects on Ukrainian president, of Ukrainian army, and it was just ridiculously, because in his speech a lot of experts told that he said that Western countries, West and United States in general, they were criminals. They have the opium wars, they have a slavery, they depressed another nations, and they do not respect Russia, and that's why, and also they applied in the past nuclear weapon, and so West is very bad, and that's why I captured Ukrainian 4 territories. That was the kind of very strange logic of Russian president's speech yesterday, and all experts told about this. And his speech was on the level of people who are telling about politics near his houses, in the yards. That's another things what our experts told. So it has not any some value as something very clever or like this. And Also, I would say that very important thing I started to tell you about freed our territories in Liman, because it is first time when Ukrainian army, they surrounded Russians and captured a lot of Russians in the city. In the 2014, when our army was quite weak, Russians, they made the same things in Ilovaisk. They killed a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, and after they fun off Ukraine that do you remember the Ilovaisk surroundment? Do you remember this? We can do the same. You're weak and we are strong, we will surround you like in Ilovaisk. And it was the things for Russians to be proud of, and to prove that their army very strong. And now our army did the same with them, and the Russian propagandists, they just going crazy, and they just screaming like, why we are so strong, why we cannot protect people in Liman, why we cannot send there some forces to maintain this army in this place. We are so cool, we have a lot of weapons, we have a lot of aircrafts, and what is the commanders? They cannot do anything. But the military experts said that actually these forces that are in surroundment in Liman, actually they were sent as the enforcement for Russian army. So this enforcement are already surrounded, and after this Liman surroundment, there not much how to say of defense left, and after this Ukrainians, they will continue to move on, and there will be a lot of obstacles because they surrounded all this in Liman. So it's very, very important for image of Ukrainian army and for the creation of Russian military spirit. This surroundment is very, very have significant meaning and value. And of course, Russians, and Putin, they like to revenge if they cannot win on the battle. During the fights, they apply missiles, and you remember, maybe you already heard about very cruel missile strikes in Zaporizhia, in Dnipro cities. In Zaporizhia, they struck in the place where 100 of city buses stayed. These buses that deliver people to their work and back. These buses for people to use the civilian transport for people in Dnipro, and 100 of these buses were destroyed by the missile strike. It means that people after this had have a problem, because it was yesterday, have a problem to get to their job. And so in the Dnipro, after the strike, we have quite bad situation with transport. And in Zaporizhia, they struck in the place where was a lot of cars and people who wanted to go out or move in to the occupied territories of the Zaporizhian region, and a lot of people were killed. Maybe you saw these terrible pictures. And so that is the things we have for today. Unfortunately, Russians, they do not forget to do such cruel, aggressive things, and they using also now some military equipment from Iran, because Putin, he have not much partners in the world, while Ukraine is supported by most of the countries, civilized countries of the world. And I'm very thankful for all this support. Russia have no any partners, countries who support it, except maybe Iran, maybe China, but China, they do not officially maybe support it, but unofficially they just keep silence. They do not say that they are against it, and they do not say that they support it, but I think they could support unofficially Russia a little bit maybe, but not how to say, they thinking about their own interests, so they like half and half. And maybe Northern Korea also support Russia. And Iran is the country that gave, not long time ago, gave Russia the drones. It is the flying machines that spy from the sky, and they spy and they collect information, making a video of all what happens on the Ukrainian side. Now, yes, they striked, they helped to make some strikes on Odessa previous week, but now our military forces, they learned how to fight with them, unfortunately. And what Russians in this situation, what they plan to do, using these drones, but it's not enough to win the war. Of course, they annoy Ukrainian army, but thanks to the Western weapon, to Western support, Ukrainian army getting stronger and stronger, and you see all these attacks and returning of territories because of this. And what is the plan of Putin, what he is going to do? Maybe you hear about mobilization in Russia. He wants to collect, he wants to take, different sources have the different numbers. Some sources said that 300, some said that 500, some say that 1 million of people, train them as soldiers for a few months. Anyway, some of these people, the first wave of mobilization, they are already on their front line, so they have no any how to say, preparation, any training to be soldiers. Yes, they tried to take people who have had in the past some military experience, but if they had this military experience 10, 20 years ago, it's almost useless, because they do not remember a lot of things. And these people that were mobilized next week, they are already in Ukraine. They are already as enforcement of Ukrainian military units, and some of them are already captured by Ukrainian army. Imprisoned. So some soldiers, they was as soldiers of Russian army just 6 days, and they are captured by Ukrainians. And I think they are lucky, because they were not killed without any much skills to being a soldier, to just to surrender and survive with no trauma, with no injuries, and stayed alive. I think they really lucky, some of these people, but not all. And what is the plans with this mobilization? What is Putin going to do? We, of course, we have just can guess, but due to his actions, we can understand what he will do. Yes, Russia had not much soldiers, and they tried to solve this problem by the mobilization to increase the number of soldiers. Also, they plan to apply this million of people. They want to train them in the following few months to become soldiers. They want to apply them for a new attack on the northern direction. And military experts, they making these conclusions because in the Belarus, from the north of Ukraine, they started to prepare airports for military aircrafts, and on these airports, as it was on the beginning of the spring 2022, the Russian military aircrafts began to appear, their number now increasing, and that's why the experts say that the Putin plan again attack from the north, and here could be different two directions. They may go they may go and try to capture. It is first direction. They may try to have a second attempt to capture Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, and the second thing that they may try, instead of Kiev, they may try to go to Volyn region, which is the northern western region of Ukraine near Poland, and they may try to capture Volyn region, Lviv, because this is the place, this is the cities and regions. They connect with the Western, with the European Union, with countries that deliver the territory of these countries, like Poland, I don't know, all other countries from the West. They have routes to deliver military equipment from the West, all that support Western military machinery and other help from the West. And so another thing that Putin tried to do, and actually Lukashenko also talked about it at the end of the spring, that he want to help Ukraine to survive, and he want to rescue Ukraine by cutting it off from the greedy and very bad West. And it means that they want to really cut all passes, all ways to delivery of any Western help. So that's why they may try to attack Volyn region and Lviv region. But our military experts also tell that it is a useless idea, because the Ukrainian border with the Western countries, it's quite long, and except Volyn region, Lviv region, we have also another regions that have borders with Hungary, with Romania, and it's quite long border, a lot of kilometers, thousands of kilometers. So and if we also can if we will remember that Ukrainian army now quite enforced, quite strong, I cannot imagine that they will capture and they will cut all sources to deliver equipment from the West. Yes, they can capture some small territories on Volyn region, but all the borders of Ukraine with Western countries, it will be preserved, so it will not influence on the delivery of military equipments, I would say. And another thing that I want to say to you, that tell to you about the yesterday, Zelensky, he signed the how to say document, or I don't know how to translate it into England, but he signed a document with to ask the head of the NATO to become a member of Ukraine, want to become a member of military alliance NATO. I don't know if it could be possible, because to become a member of this military alliance, country should not have any inner conflict, military actions, and Ukraine have these actions now, and that's why in the speech of after this yesterday evening, Jens Stoltenberg, sorry, it's very complicated second name, he told that he didn't give any certain answer, will he accept Ukraine as a NATO member or not. and maybe because of this, and actually NATO don't want to take part in this conflict, because if it will take part, this conflict will become a third world war, because other countries will be included, and that's why NATO till now they try to be like a little bit aside of this. And now the Jens Stoltenberg, some military experts, they even told that he looked scared, and also some of our military experts, they told that he looked scared and unconfident while his speech on the beginning of the spring, also when he commented this Ukrainian conflict. So I don't know if this step of Ukrainian President Zelensky to ask NATO to accept them will have some success even now. And also the last thing I want to tell you, what we have in our news about possible nuclear weapon, possibility to apply of Putin of nuclear weapon now. We have a lot of different messages in our different channels, mass media, even sources of information. We're receiving a lot of different instructions how to act in the case of in the case of nuclear explosion. That you have to lie on the land, you have not close your eyes, do not watch on this flash. Then you have only 3, or some sources have 10 minutes to run to some underground shelter. You have to have in this shelter the deposits of water, of some canned food, and it should be closed very tightly. Then you should take off all your clothes were on the moment of explosions, and you have to be in this shelter. The shelter should be without windows, without doors, and you should make sure there are no any gaps of the air outside, the excess of air outside, and you should stay there for at least few days and do not go anywhere. So that is quite frightening things, and I am quite scared even being here in Italy. I can imagine what people think and feel they are in Ukraine now, or that people there are in Ukraine, because even here I'm quite scared of this. And I'm worried about all my friends, people that I do not care about them, because it's really very scary. It's really very scary. And yesterday we have a thunder here at the 5 o'clock. I woke up because of these sounds. And first things, I were asleep, half sleep, half not sleep. But first thought I had, it's if it is not nuclear explosion. Can you imagine the level of my stress about this? Also, Ukrainian sources say that the possibility of applying nuclear weapon by Putin is very, very high. It is really dangerous. He could apply it because he acts not logically. Now he's not controlled maybe himself, and he picked this way. And he have no turn back road. He sees that all another actions, all another steps he will do, they will not lead him to the victory. And he is the person that do not lose anything. If he sees that he losing something, he try to make the more aggressive, more strong step to fright the opponent and make him step back. And the only one step in this situation, in this war, he it's a nuclear weapon. After this, he have no any things to influence on the world society, on Ukrainian government. And that's why the possibility he will apply it is very high. And also in his yesterday's speech, he told about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, about that in the Second World War, United States applied a nuclear weapon, so they created such an event. And if they did this, why I cannot did this? So like it's their fault that they applied it, and if they do it, why I cannot do it? And our experts say that he can apply not strategical nuclear weapon, but tactical nuclear weapon. Tactical nuclear weapon is explosions that they have a radius, the circle of explosions of the territories that we affected by nuclear, these explosions will be 15 kilometers, so it's very small, small amount of the nuclear, how to say, this thing that there will be in the missile, and it will be not affect a lot of territories, but they could apply it massively in the places where a lot of Ukrainian military points of commander points, where a lot of Ukrainian military machinery, well, a lot of soldiers, they could apply, for example, 10 or 20 tactical missiles with a nuclear weapon, with a nuclear they will fill by nuclear, to say, I don't know how to translate it, but you understand, nuclear missiles massively in some, I don't know, to stop the front line, to stop the Ukrainian forces go forward. And I suspect also that they could apply it not just to stop Ukrainian forces, military forces, but if they strike in the city centers, in the buses, entertaining centers, I can imagine that they could apply also these missiles with the tactical nuclear weapon to kill a lot of people in the Ukrainian cities. And that's why people quite scared. And I don't know what the international society will do with this, because Ukraine is only one country that refused to have a nuclear weapon. And we have the memorandum in Budapest, where Russia and other states signed the agreement that they guarantee Ukraine's safety, and Ukraine can give back to Russia nuclear weapon. So Ukraine gave back to Russia nuclear weapon, and now countries that refuse to have this weapon will be the victim of countries that have this weapon. And in international meaning, it is a very frightening event, because it could let another nuclear countries to apply this weapon against other countries, and it will be the event that will open the such a possibility for aggressive politics and scare of other nations in the world. So I think that international society should stop Russia in any means and help Ukraine do not become a victim of this nuclear strike. That is my video. Thank you for watching. because I'm run out of the memory in my phone. So I want to say thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.